Hello, I'm Bill Bullard with R-CALF USA, the voice of the independent cattle producer in the United States of America. Well, up until the very end of 2015, when you and other consumers purchased a package of ribeye steaks and a package of ground beef with the label born, raised, and harvested in the USA, the retailer had to restock those meat products so the next consumer could purchase meat for their family. Now, your purchase sparks a demand signal. When you purchase a particular product at the retail counter, your purchase sends a demand signal all the way back through the entire beef supply chain. And in this case, the retailer would contact the packer, either directly or through a distributor, and place an order for more ribeye steaks and more ground beef labeled born, raised, and harvested in the USA, because those are the particular products that disappeared from the store as a result of your purchase. So now the packer has the order in hand and must source the cattle from which it can fabricate more ribeye steaks and more ground beef that will qualify for the born, raised, and harvested in the USA label. So guess where the packer must go to fill that order? That's right. The packer can go to one source and only one source to fill that order. The packer must purchase cattle that are born and raised in the United States. And that means the packer must purchase USA cattle from USA cattle producers. And that's how mandatory country of origin labeling, or MCOOL, creates demand for U.S. cattle that are exclusively born and raised by United States cattle producers. But now, ever since the end of 2015, when mandatory country of origin labeling was repealed for beef, when you and other consumers purchase ribeyes and ground beef that no longer bear a country of origin label, your purchase simply registers as a purchase of generic beef. That means when the retailer replaces that product that you caused to disappear, the retailer simply places an order with the packer for more ribeyes and more ground beef. So now the packer is free to source the cattle from which to fabricate more ribeyes and more ground beef from any of the 20 or so countries that the United States imports beef from. That means the packers can fill that order with beef from Canada, Mexico, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, or Uruguay. And you, the consumer, are none the wiser. That means without mandatory COOL, consumers can no longer send demand signals all the way to the live cattle segment of the multi-segmented beef supply chain. And that means the packer is empowered to source cattle from any country they choose to satisfy the generic consumer demand for beef. And that's just plain wrong. Without mandatory COOL, the packers are accorded tremendous market power that they can use to reduce the demand for cattle that are exclusively born, raised, and harvested in the United States, even when consumers want to support their U.S. cattle industry. And the only way to fix this broken system is for Congress to fully reinstate MCOOL for beef. And we are urging them to quickly introduce and pass a new MCOOL law for beef. And we're under a voluntary COOL regime now, and it isn't working. Most beef is being sold without any information as to where the cattle from which the beef was derived originate. And beef that is being voluntarily labeled with a product of USA label is as likely as not to be imported beef or beef from imported cattle. Consumers are being deceived, competition is being thwarted, and U.S. cattle producers are being harmed. America needs MCOOL for beef, and America needs it now. Now, there are many reasons that Congress should pass a new MCOOL law for beef in addition to the reason just described, which is to reignite the forces of competition within the U.S. beef supply chain. Now, some of those other reasons include allowing consumers to express their nationalism, their patriotism, allowing consumers to avoid beef from countries that may have a food safety problem, and to create new opportunities to rebuild America's cattle herd to attract new entrants into the ranching sector, as undifferentiated imports could no longer be used to fill domestic supply gaps, and to strengthen the domestic cattle industry by allowing consumers to support America's live cattle supply chain, and to prevent ongoing industry consolidation by promoting competition at the retail counter, and to prevent consumer deception caused by affixing the USA label on beef derived from foreign cattle. And finally, provide consumers with more choices and more pricing options. So please contact your members of Congress immediately and tell them you want to know where your beef comes from. Tell them to support and pass mandatory country of origin labeling for beef as quickly as possible. Now, to learn more and to help us win MCOOL for beef, please go to our website at r-calfusa.com. Thank you and have a productive week.